Don't glue the table, Annie. The nice table! Succulents are a phenomenal addition to seasonal decor. They bring a lot of life to decorations and arrangements around the house, and additionally, they're really simple to assemble and they require basically no maintenance throughout the season, and they look really, really cute. Now, here at Mountain Crest Gardens, we craft all of these cute little ornaments in our little workshop. But we also offer all of these different styles as DIY kits. So we'll send you a little bundle with everything you need to assemble them. All you need is a hot glue gun. So I'm going to go through all the different styles that we offer and how to assemble them if you so choose. I'm pretty crazy about this little tree that is chock full of succulent ornaments. Let's go ahead and start with one of these. These are so simple, so elegant, and the idea is just a rosette cutting of a succulent that's been hot glued onto an ornament hook with a tiny little bit of reindeer moss at the back there. And this is the general idea that all of these succulent ornaments follow, basically. A little bit of hot glue to stick a cutting onto some piece of decor. So I've got two here that they're both Sempervivum hens and chicks, and the Sempervivum are really great for those kind of earth tone colors. So let's go ahead and make one of these. Okay, that's gonna be a cute icy blue little ornament. That's the other thing I like with the color tones of all the succulents in these cuttings is I feel like there's kind of two routes you can go. You can go with all of the like burgundies and earth tones, or the icy blues if you're going for a silvery look. Our DIY succulent ornament kits tend to come with a little baggie of usually either sphagnum moss, or this one is a Spanish moss, which is actually an air plant, or some of this reindeer moss, which is actually a type of lichen. I think for this one, I'm gonna do a bit of the Spanish moss. Tillandsia eucinoides. And this is just gonna help anchor the hook to my little cutting there because I don't have too much stem going on, so the more that I can build it up, the more the glue has something to hold on to there. There we go. Quite a lot. With all of these projects, all you need is a hot glue gun, and if you have the option, put it on the low setting, and you're not going to hurt your succulent cutting. They actually hold up really well to hot glue, and come the end of the season, you're able to pull off any clumps of glue and reroute that cutting. So we're not killing succulents here, we are merely putting them into a little dormant stasis until we're ready to reroute them and let them grow again. So that was 2 seconds, and it is solidly on there, ready to hang on a tree. Okay, next let's look at these, we call these wood cookies, and it's a super cute little ornament. They're made with these little slices of wood that, you can see why it's called a cookie. And they come with a tiny little bit of this, is it baker's string, I think it is, to hang them. And same thing, let's go with a couple of these hens and chick rosette cuttings, a little bit of our sphagnum moss, and then maybe a cute bow on the bottom there. I really like these because of the different textures you get, wood, fluffy little moss, and then a sweet succulent. As succulents grow, they naturally, their oldest, most mature leaves will dry and die, so feel free to just pull those off, clean it up, and it's ready to go. Ta-da! Alright, next, how about these little cone ones? And this is really cool. It's a sequoia cone. So from some great big trees, and we're gonna put some tiny little succulents on it. or a cool plant combo. And the cones do well with a little bit of the smaller rosettes on them, so I might be able to get away with some little guys from my soft and tender pastel-y colors. With the Sequoia cones, you want to start off by getting your string on there to hang it. A little bit of hot glue just to anchor it on. And I'll use some of that to get my moss in place. Et voila. So you can see all of these, they're pretty quick for one person to just smack together and assemble really quickly. But you can also form a great little assembly line. You can work with kids on this. If you're doing the hot glue stage, there's definitely a lot of other little bits that people can prep, and you can churn out a lot of ornaments to really fill your tree. Because in assembling this one, that is something that I remembered from previous years, that trees really absorb ornaments and it takes a lot to give it that full, bountiful look. Then we have these ones, which are adorable, and they come pre-made because they are so incredibly simple. This is a little succulent plug, so it's got roots there, the tiniest bit of soil, just holding its little roots together, and a little bit of sphagnum moss, and that just holds it all into the tiniest terracotta. So they're already glued and ready to hang. And you know, they're in a terracotta pot with a drainage hole, so in theory you could at the end of the season pull this off the tree and start growing it just like that with a little extra soil. Alternatively, the plugs are, when you pull them out, ready to plant. Come springtime, these are super easy to shove into the ground, particularly the frost hardy ones for a little like outdoor rock garden situation. Next up, I was gonna say silver bells, but golden bells. We have one, this like shiny gold version, and then other option is the rustic version. And they actually look really good together too. So if you get the kit version and you want to make them yourselves, same old deal. You're gonna take your ornament, get a little bit of string on it for the hanger, hot glue on a bit of moss, and then your succulent cuttings, and it's good to go. Let's do it. It's like making a little nest on top. Just a sweet place for your succulent cuttings to land. Now, you get full creative control when you're doing the DIY craft version. Personally, I think for design, things look good in odd numbers, so I tend to aim for like 3 little rosette cuttings on top. And you can see like with these ones, I've chosen to go with 1 big one and 2 little ones to get a little bit of contrast and make it look a little bit more organic, I guess. Pretty fun. Next up, we've got bows, and there are 2 different sizes of the bows, a medium and a small bow, and they're this like nice rustic burlap, which gives a lot of texture to your tree, and is kind of a nice contrasting color. It's, you know, a nice neutral, but it really pops out from the tree, I feel like. So let's see, what succulents do I want to do on this one? I think I'm going to do another one with kind of the burgundy tones to go with the burlap bow. The bows have this, like, it's almost like a metal hair clip on the back, so they're really easy to snap onto the tree, and it actually gives you a lot more control, I feel like, than the hanging strings of most ornaments. This one, you can really position the angle on it. And there's our bow, ready to hang on the tree. In addition to all of those cool ornaments, you also have the option of getting a kit to make one of these cute little topiary trees that looks pretty sweet sitting on a mantle or, you know, an entryway table, what have you. And these ones only come as kits. They're not pre-made. And you get one of these dry foam little cones that you can hot glue rosette cuttings onto. And if you like, you can print off little toppers for it. That's what our coworker Joel did for these ones here. But you can do what you like with that one. That does not come included. And these two here, super cute, are made with hens and chicks, the Semper Vivum, cold hardy, frost hardy actually, rosettes. So I think when I make one, I'm gonna do it with the tender pastel soft succulents. You also have two options on this one. We include some little moss that you can use to fill in around your rosettes, but you know, that's a creative choice. You can also skip it. You could put in tinsel. You can do what you like. It is your decor. Let's just go ahead and pour this out so I can choose from the full color scheme I've got here. And there's the finished product. The only general strategy advice I can give you is that I generally tended to use the larger rosette cuttings near the bottom and then smaller ones up at the top to help give it that conical shape like a little tree. So that is super dense and I'm really happy with how those colors turned out. Caring for your succulent ornaments and decor is really simple because succulent cuttings actually have a way of slowing down and going into a little bit of kind of a dormancy. They hang out in stasis because, you know, they've been cut off, they don't have roots, so they're not actively trying to grow. And because of that, they don't react as quickly to things like having less light or not getting water. That said, you can definitely keep them more colorful and looking really great if they are in a sunnier location, but you'll notice that compared to rooted established succulents, they are a lot slower to react to change. So you can get away with having them on a tree where they're maybe not getting as much sunlight as you would normally try to give to your succulents. So that's something that's working in your favor. And then for water, you know, these right when they're cut, they don't have any roots, so they don't have any way of taking in water. So there's kind of no point in watering them. But even succulent cuttings will eventually sprout new roots. They tend to be these fine pink aerial roots. So once you start seeing those, if the leaves start feeling a little bit limp or they look thirsty and wrinkled in any way, then if you want to water them, you can just get a spray bottle and spray them. The other really fun thing about succulent decorations is that by the end of the season, you can still use these cuttings. You haven't killed any succulents. You can pull them or cut them off, remove any chunks of hot glue, and then they're still ready to be rerooted. So to do that, you're gonna put them on soil, a nice gritty soil, and keep it, I would say, a little bit damp but not soggy, just so that they can establish roots. And keeping them in a bunch of sun is gonna reactivate them, help them wake up and start growing again. And then your cool decorations will turn into new, different, interesting living decorations for the rest of the year. You can follow the link to find all of these ornaments and the DIY kit versions at mountaincrestgardens.com. This thing is getting massive. It's like so much thicker.